Let's bounce back to the Carolinas.
Yeah.
One of our, of course, uh, you know, game that we have a personal stake in. That'd be Carolina and Carolina, the South Carolina versus
Mhm.
East Carolina to be exact. Um,
The battle of the directions, baby. The
yeah,
Direction Bowl.
certainly East Carolina, not the worst group of five school out there, but South Carolina, would really like to win this one.
Mhm.
Just to get off on the right foot after having struggled for the last couple seasons. So they, yeah, I mean, I'll just really quickly kind of preview the quarterback situation. I mentioned Holton Ahlers, of course. He's very experienced, having spent all his time at ECU. Meanwhile, Zeb Noland, kind of experienced in his
The
own way,
December,
but
baby.
yeah, if you haven't heard this man's story, I think he transferred from Iowa State to North Dakota State, and then from North Dakota State, he left the program after the spring season. He lost his job to a freshman after throwing more touchdowns than picks, and this wasn't a particularly good Oklahoma State team either. Sorry, North Dakota State team last year. They weren't even ranked heading into the playoffs in the spring season. But yeah, he lost his job to a freshman, and then was going to hang up the cleats and came to South Carolina to be a grad assistant. And then due to injuries to their presumptive starting quarterbacks, they decided to throw him in there. And to his credit, threw for 4 touchdowns in the first
Mhm.
game. Although I think he looked pretty poor, to be honest. I thought
Yep.
he was
I
telegraphing a lot
agree.
of passes. He wasn't like making crisp throws, and he was just taking advantage of um, a very subpar Eastern Illinois team. But obviously, what they don't have in the air, they make up for on the ground. Pretty much the opposite of ECU. South Carolina has. If they have one thing going for them, it's their running backs. They didn't even have Kevin Harris play last week, who's one of the best backs in the country, in my opinion. Um, Leader in rushing, led the SEC in rushing last year. Didn't have him, and they went with Marshawn Lloyd and Zaquandre White,
Yep. And Juju McDowell.
and Juju McDowell. So
Get some Juju in there.
got a lot of yards on the ground. Of course, Eastern Illinois, impossible to tell, how much of that was on the backs themselves. But yeah, pretty much the opposite of East Carolina. So, how good is this defense going to hold up for South Carolina? Um, and how good is this defense going to hold up for East Carolina? What do you think, Max?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was a baffling storyline, too. If people notice, the betting lines were wild. USC's been like 70% matchup predictor on ESPN's like FPI, but then up until today, ECU was the favorite for the game, like a point and a half, 2 point favorite. And
Right.
so just the like a lack of coordination there between the expected winner and the Vegas winner was clearly I've never seen before, that kind of discrepancy. It's even out a little bit more, and South Carolina is now a 2 point favorite.
Yeah. So did something
And you know,
happen? Because the line shifted like 3 points today.
yeah, I think people were just betting. I think people were like, holy shit, South Carolina's got like a plus percentage, whatever, and
Yeah.
a plus return on an investment with this pretty crazy predictor to win, 30% prediction to win. I mean, I bet $10 on the game, and I'm a pretty low better per game. So
Dang.
I think enough people bet to kind of move the lines that way. Like Vegas will respond to that. They don't want to juice it too much, I would say, is what I would guess. But I don't know. I'm not really a betting expert. I just do it and lose usually.
Who
But
you
yeah, I
got?
think the biggest question. I mean,
Yeah,
South
no,
Carolina
go
for
for
sure.
it. Do your proper
Yeah,
preview.
yeah. So I think we looked great last week against Eastern Illinois. I mean, it's an FCS team. They lost to Indiana State or something like. I'm not pretty much talking that. The running backs are stellar. The offensive line didn't look great for us, but I think first in the season is kind of expected. I don't think ECU's defense is going to be able to hold up to the 3 or 4 running back monster we'll have back there. I think Doty will come back for our team. if anything, out of necessity, maybe 2, because I don't think Zeb's going to be that good. He had 12 completions, 13 completions, 4 of them to Zaquandre Wright, who was a leading receiver and leading rusher, and his receptions were for 40 yards. So, not a playmaker, of course. And I think we're going to need to score some points. I mean, Eastern Carolina has always been known for their offense. I think it'll have to come down to that. I think we'll have to start Doty for that reason. And I think he's good. I think he doesn't throw the ball away, makes dumb mistakes. I think we'll win it pretty easily. I just don't think their team can match up to our offense, our line. I also know that our coach, Beaver, knows how good ECU can be and what it's like to play a team that you don't expect to win. He was quoted talking about how his BT team some 10 years ago beat number 2 Ohio State in Ohio State, I think in Columbus, and then lost at home to ECU the following week. So I think he knows this is a team that travels well. They have the home game, and it's a team that, again, has a really good fan base, but I'm going to say there. I think it'll be a pretty good atmosphere, a pretty good stadium. It'll be important for us to execute, but I just think we will in the end, especially being on the run game. And a defense that just really performed very well last week. I think they'll do well to keep ECU on their toes on offense.
Yeah, I mean, definitely these two teams have played each other a lot in their history. So, yeah, I think South. I don't know if I can pick against South Carolina, but
exactly.
But yeah, I mean, it's going to be. I don't think South Carolina is going to stop Holton Ahlers from getting his.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we really don't know anything about the South Carolina team, to be totally honest.
We don't.
Because when was the last time we found out anything about the South Carolina defense? Last year they a bunch of different people opted out. So, we really don't, most of the guys that were any good last year in the NFL. So, they looked good. There was an interception return for a touchdown from Jordan Birch, who's obviously a massive recruit. So, yeah, it's just a big question mark about how, I could easily see that, Holton Ahlers just kind of picks apart a zone defense and scores that way. But, they will have to stop South Carolina. So I'm going to take South Carolina by 3, which would bring the overall series between these two teams to 15 wins for South Carolina and 5 for ECU, which is a little bit surprising.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. Maybe a little
100%.
bit, but yeah, ECU hasn't won since 1999, which I believe is during South Carolina's 0-11 or maybe 1-11 seasons, and they won.
That was one of those bad ones.
Yeah, they won 21-3. I remember playing them a couple of games closely during college, though. So, always a tough opponent.
No, they're competitive.
Yeah.
No, yeah, they got a great offense. It'll be the battle of the defenses. Which defense can get the stop? Which defense can get a turnover or 2 and just give that offense, one more possession or just a little more of a cushion.
Yeah.
Together.
Awesome.